Never, but that's okay. Back here at home, lawmakers are returning to Capitol Hill today as Democrats contend with the fallout from sexual harassment allegations against two prominent lawmakers. The longest-serving member of Congress, John Conyers, gave up his role as senior Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee. And Senator Al Franken is speaking out, saying he is embarrassed and ashamed about accusations against him. Talk Radio News anchor Leanne Tweeden says Franken forcibly kissed and groped her during a USO tour in 2006. Now, he apologized for a photo showing his hands over her chest, but he says he remembers the kissing incident differently. Tweeden is just one of at least 4 women who claim the Minnesota senator groped them while posing for pictures. The Senate Ethics Committee is investigating those claims. In an exclusive interview, Franken spoke with reporter Esme Murphy of our Minneapolis station WCCO about the allegations.
Have you ever placed a hand on some woman's butt?
You know, I can't say that that hasn't happened. I take thousands and thousands of pictures. We sometimes in crowded and chaotic situations. I can't say I haven't done that, and I am very sorry if these women experience that. And I have to say that I have to be a lot more sensitive and a lot more careful in these when I take a picture, when I meet someone, and I'm going to make sure that this does not happen again.
Can you really continue to claim kind of a moral high ground on some of these issues, including the Trump-Russia investigation, when a lot of people feel you've been less than transparent about these particular allegations?
Well, I think I'm a good questioner. I think that the questions that I'm asking don't go to my credibility. They go to the credibility of the witness. They go to the credibility.
But hasn't your credibility been undermined?
I would say yes, and I have a long way back. I have a long way back to win back the trust of the people of Minnesota. I've let people down. I've let the people of Minnesota down. I've let my friends and staff and supporters down, my family down.
All right, WCCO reporter Esme Murphy joins me now with more on her conversation with Senator Franken. Very interesting little clip there. He apologizes, but it's sort of a bit of a qualified apology, too. I'm sorry these women experienced this. He's sort of, there's a fine line there. He's apologizing, but he's also said, look, I don't really remember a lot of this
right.
stuff.
And I think that's exactly the point. He's trying to walk that line, and I think people are going to be skeptical. This is a very smart man, a man who prides himself on knowing the details of every bill, and he doesn't remember groping somebody's butt or forcibly kissing them. And I think that's going to be difficult, especially for his critics, to believe. And
in your conversation with him, I mean, does he ever say, I'm sorry, I was wrong?
Not really. I mean, not really. I mean, I think what he stresses is that he doesn't remember it. He did say in that clip that it's possible he could have done it. And I think that's where it's going to be difficult for him. There has been a lot of support, though. Just yesterday, 65 prominent Democratic women came out in Minnesota, signed a statement in support of him, saying they're disappointed with the allegations, but they want this ethics process to go forward. Saturday Night Live staffers have also signed a statement. 35 women that he worked with there, 14 of his own staffers, some of whom had top-level positions in his office, have said they were never harassed. So, but there are some problems there. It's not going to be easy sailing for him.
Yeah, and he acknowledged that. He says it's going to be a long road back to gain the support and the trust of his constituents. You know, we're covering this story from sort of a national level, but what's it like back at home for him and the people who voted for him?
You know, I was thinking about something that Gayle King said last week in the aftermath of the Charlie Rose allegations. And she said, you know, what do you do when somebody you care about does something that's not good? And I think for his supporters, I think that's where they're at. And I think they're confused, and he will have to work hard to regain it. But he does remain popular. He does have the support. If something else comes out, though, I think that's where he's going to be potentially in trouble.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people were sort of concerned about when the first allegation came out.
Right.
What would happen next? And what happened next were these accusations or suggestions that he may have touched women inappropriately. Not as bad as some of the other things that we've seen. And when this story broke, I thought to myself, wow, I could see pictures of him. People were putting pictures of him side by side with Weinstein and Moore, and sort of all lumping it in together. What's his take on that? How does he feel when he saw some of that stuff?
I actually asked him about that. I said, you're in a split screen with Roy Moore, who's accused of, harassing and even, going after a 14-year-old child. And he says, I really don't like it. And he did not want to address those allegations. I said, what should happen with Roy Moore if he gets elected to the Senate? He didn't want to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he can bounce back? Is there enough support for him?
I think there is. I think what is going to be very important, though, is that if more allegations come out, if more women come forward, I think that's going to be problematic. Yeah. But I do think if he proceeds with this ethics process, if he continues to apologize, if he owns it, I think that would help him as well. Mm-hmm.